Your Shaolin brothers died for you.
You'll burn until the last of their souls is free.
Or perhaps you'll join them.
A sworn enemy to Earthrealm, leaving a trail of deceit in his path, Shang Tsung has graced Mortal Kombat with his presence once again, his toolset looking better than ever. A wide variety of moves that boast multiple playstyles and strategy potential, this Choose Your Destiny dives into the soul of one of Mortal Kombat's absolute original mainstay characters.
Yet again, you betray Earthrealm.
Are you surprised, Raiden?
Once again, we'll start this video with some standout buttons. Forward 4 is far-reaching and +4 on block. Like the other big leg moves that some characters have, this one is good for establishing offense. Unlike the others though, this one's a high and it can be ducked, and that's where another attack comes in. Forward 3 has a similar startup to Forward 4, but it hits overhead. This one is -7 on block though, so you lose your turn if it's blocked. Effective for baiting a crouch from somebody waiting for Forward 4. Standing 3 has deceivingly far range. It's excellent for use in combos as it doesn't knock them very far back and sets up for enders nicely. Forward 2 reaches far and it hits mid. It belongs to the Forward 2 4-2 string, but we'll explain that one a little bit later. Back 1 is another mid, a little bit faster than Forward 2, but less range. Back 3 has short range, but it hits low, giving Shang a low starter. Shang Tsung's down 3 and down 4 are both excellent buttons. Awesome frames on hit, hitting really low to the ground and sporting fantastic range.
And now a taste of things to come.
Boy oh boy, does Shang Tsung have a bunch of combo strings. Some of them are unique to him as well, as they involve spells. Let's start with 1-1-2, a 3-hit string that starts from a high and is +4 on block. The catch is that only the 2 is flawless blockable. This string is complemented with 1-1-4, only -6 on block, but it features no gap and is easily hit confirmable into specials. If somebody is constantly looking to flawless block 1-1-2, this string will blow them up for it. Back 1-1-2 starts from a mid and ends in knockdown. You can't really use back 1-1 as a stagger though, because the 2 hit by itself is -12 on block. The full string is -7, so not as bad to throw out. Back 1, down 2 is the version of this move that you'll use more. The down 2 is an overhead and even has a crushing blow attached to it, but as always, we'll save that one for later. 2-1 up 2 down 2 is Shang Tsung's first magic string, the kind of string that involves a projectile-like move inside a combo string. It feels weird at first, but you basically have to perform the entire string in one go to get all 4 hits. You can't do just the 3rd hit here. 2-1-4 is much simpler, hits 3 times, ending in knockdown. Back to 1-1 is another magic string. This one creates a small projectile that travels across the screen. This projectile is active throughout, so make sure you're watching out for it. It can be ended with back to 1-1-2, sending the projectile in a straight line to finish. Forward 2 4-2, one of Shang Tsung's main strings for sure. This launches in the corner for a full combo. Can be comboed off mid-screen with a very tight ground eruption, and is +4 on block. As you might expect though, this string can be flawless blocked on the final hit. Forward 2 4-3, much like Shang Tsung's 1-1-4 string earlier, this is the answer to their flawless block attempt, as it hits way earlier and it has a crushing blow tied to it to complement this also. 3 up 2 down 2, it hits 3 times and has 2 cheeky lows at the end. A good use for this string is just the 3 up 2 by itself. It's a high damage special cancelable string for use in combos. Back 3 up 4, it starts low and then hits overhead. You can end it with 3-4 afterwards, but a good use for this string is just special cancelling after the up 4. It connects fully and punishes them for not blocking the overhead properly. Finally, back 3 down 4. It hits low instead of overhead, but comes out significantly faster than the overhead does. You can definitely fuzzy this mix up, but a fast second low never hurt to have in a tool set, did it?
Come, Cinderella waits.
Why? So you can transfer her my power?
Time for the Universal Specials. With no abilities equipped, here are the moves that Shang gets access to. Fire Skull, back forward 1, is a simple projectile. Fast, efficient, and shoots a second one when amplified. Crashing Flames, down back 1, is another projectile, but it features a diagonal hitbox. Amplify this to shoot a third one further forward still. Soul Steal, the staple of Shang, is performed with back forward 2, does damage on hit and causes him to morph into the opponent for a short time. Amplify this to stay as the opponent for a longer period of time, and while morphed, you gain access to all of the opponent's moves. Corpse Drop, the final projectile here, is down forward 3, and it has 4 distances: close, medium, far, and very far. It attacks as an overhead, and when amplified, will explode and hit low. Sorcery Rush, back forward 4, is a go-to combo ender. It does good damage and sends full screen on hit. And at last, Shang Tsung's Fatal Blow has a slower than standard startup and bags very decent damage indeed. You know the Fatal Blow drill by now though, don't you? It has basic armor and can absorb offensive pressure. The variations change Shang Tsung drastically, and here are the 2 that we have to choose from. Warlock gains the following. Fire Skull can be amplified for a second time. It costs both bars of offensive meter, but can be useful at the end of a match if you need to chip or catch the opponent off guard in general. Ground Eruption is the second move. It's down back 1 and replaces Crushing Flames, but it has many more uses. This may be that all Shang gets in this variation next to Fire Skull, but the Ground Eruption is one of the deadliest specials in the game in my opinion. It features 2 ranges, regular and far. The immediate thing is combo potential. This move can be amplified on hit to launch into a follow-up, and it works off almost every string or attack. The range means that Shang gets a dangerous ranged punish on long-ranged attacks. The Amplify will stack twice, so as long as you dash in between them, you can secure a decent amount of damage here as well. It works hand in hand with his other projectiles, giving him highly effective space control and zoning. Finally, it does chip damage for days. Be careful though, as the second hit is often punishable if the opponent knows their own workaround. Not only is it flawless blockable, but some characters have even better answers. I found that Noob Saibot can simply forward dash before the second hit, which is just one of many possibilities. Keep that in mind. Spellmaster is a bit more complicated. Screaming Soul replaces the Fireball. Instead, it's another fast projectile. It has longer startup, but travels faster once you let it rip. You can hold it by holding 1, and while holding it, allows you to amplify. When you amplify, Shang Tsung crouches and covers his own area with a diagonal beam. This works as a bait into anti-air if the opponent attempts a punish on reaction. The last option is a cancel by pressing down while charging it, and this costs 1 bar of defensive meter. Scatter Souls replaces Corpse Drop. It can be charged, and the longer you charge it, the more damage it will do. It can be cancelled with down down and doesn't actually cost meter to do so. Amplify to throw a projectile that stuns the opponent for a free follow-up. Soul Well, down back 2, creates a well on the screen that absorbs damage dealt. The more damage you deal allows Shang Tsung to input down back 2 again to heal a small portion of it. This is similar to Kotal Khan's Blood Totem, encouraging you to deal as much damage as possible while the Soul Well is active.
Stealing my soul won't make you faster.
Actually, that is precisely how it works.
Shit.
The absolute first thing to point out about Shang Tsung's crushing blows is that when he's morphed, he will actually have access to all of the opponent's crushing blows as well. However, they deal heavily reduced damage to compensate. They also count as his own if the blow is a shared one like down 2, so no double down 2 for you. He still has his own uniques though, and here they are. After Shang Tsung morphs back into himself, you have a couple of seconds to back throw the opponent, and if it lands, it launches and allows for a full combo. Forward 2 4-3 will crushing blow if it's a counter hit or punish, dealing great damage. This is good by itself, but the extra benefit is because forward 2 4-2 is flawless blockable. If they try and deal with the gap there and you do the forward 2 4-3, they risk getting opened up by the crushing blow. Forward 4 will activate crushing blow if the opponent gets caught doing a wake up roll. The back roll is by far the most likely version to catch out successfully. Back 1 down 2, crushing blows and launches if only the second hit of this connects. Use this in your stagger game or catch them straight up blocking the wrong way and be rewarded with a full combo. And in Warlock, the third fireball from Fire Skull will crushing blow if only the third one hits. Situational I suppose, but again, punishes the opponent for not being careful. As you can see, being able to take an opponent's crushing blow doesn't change the fact that he actually has a bunch of decent ones himself, a scary character in this department for sure.
Enough impertinent nonsense.
Before we end this tutorial, here are some basic tips and tricks to get you started. Shang's down 3 and down 1 are both really good at setting up your turn. Down 3 or down 1 on hit jails into 1-1-4, so if the opponent is being disrespectful on defense and mashing after your pokes connect, as some players do, 1-1-4 can be easily confirmed into more damage to make them regret it. Don't be afraid to play keep away if you have the life lead. In Warlock, you have a wide variety of full screen options and it creates frustration on the other side. Use this against them and take damage when you can. I know I mentioned this before, but it really is important that you're careful when using Ground Eruption against a knowledgeable opponent. It's still a great move, sure, but don't be mindlessly throwing it out if the other player knows what their options are on defense. Thanks to Sorcery Rush, you can choose whether or not to end combos in Morph or not, without really losing too much damage. Morph and Rush both have similar startup speeds, so you can end in the Morph if that's what you want to do, or Sorcery Rush if you would like to remain as Shang Tsung after combos. Shang Tsung doesn't become himself after a Morph again mid-attack. It's only when the move finishes recovering will Shang instantly become himself if the timer runs out. You can use this to your advantage with characters that have stuns. If you should happen to stun the opponent just before his timer runs out, Shang can actually change back straight away. This will unlock his crushing blow throw requirement for some insanely good damage. The throw is techable though, so don't let Shang Tsung players use this against you. It's damage, but it's not guaranteed by any stretch. The instant morph can be both a blessing and a curse, however. Shang is fully vulnerable when changing back into himself, and if the opponent is also keeping an eye on your morph's internal clock, they can set up completely free hits against you as well. You must have an eye for your own morph timing if you're using this against somebody decent. Additionally, Shang Tsung's forward throw does 12% damage as opposed to the 14% that regular throws do. However, on successfully hitting it, Shang Tsung will heal a small portion of health back. This doesn't apply to his back throw. And finally, have some simple combos to get practicing with before we close out this episode. It will get you prepared for the battles to come. These Warlock combos may be simple, but they should get you used to dashing and inputting specials at the right time. Don't be alarmed by Spellmaster not having as many juggles, it's more focused on sustain than immediate combo options. Often you'll find yourself cancelling into specials immediately after strings, with the exception of the corner, as forward 2 4-2 launches universally. Here are some Warlock combos. NetherRealm have really done a fantastic job with the first DLC character in the game. Whilst it's a bit of a bummer that we can't use the ninja morphs in Tournament, the Rain fan in me definitely agrees, the Shang Tsung moves are still highly enjoyable and offer great gameplay variety. He's a master of the screen space and highly rewarding to those that know how to play multiple characters thanks to the morph. Get your hands on Shang Tsung and you won't regret it. He offers a truly unique experience compared to everyone else in the game currently. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Fatality. Shang Tsung wins.